And here's an article we certainly think is worth your time. It comes to us from the Eastern Oregon Malheur Enterprise newspaper, and it's about a story that we've told you about before. Union Pacific questioning methods used to build Nyssa rail track. It's just the latest in a string of controversies surrounding a taxpayer-funded rail station in the tiny town of Nyssa. That's way over in Eastern Oregon on the border. It's called the Treasure Valley Reload Center. The idea is to help farmers there ship products like onions to market by rail instead of truck, which is apparently faster, more reliable, and a bit cheaper. But the project has become a real debacle, and that may be a generous term to tell you the truth. The original cost, $26 million in taxpayer dollars, has ballooned now north of $40 million. The state has suspended funding, and the company that was supposed to run the depot has pulled out. And now there's a new wrinkle. 3 miles of short rail tracks, they're called spurs, have already been built in a specific way, apparently without the approval of Union Pacific Railroad. And in case you didn't know, Union Pacific likes things to be done its way. Now, why does that matter? This week I caught up with the reporter behind the story, the Malheur Enterprise, and the owner of the publication, Les Zeitz. He used to run the investigative unit at the Oregonian newspaper. He's terrific, and he now lives on his ranch in Eastern Oregon.
The design plans approved by the railroad called for what's called a foot of subballast. It's the gravel level that goes beneath the rails. And as this project encountered financial troubles in the spring of 2022, a plan developed to cut the amount of subballast in half and instead use a special manufactured sheeting to help hold the track bed together. So contractors and engineers went ahead, built all of this rail, and it's only become apparent recently that this was all done without the apparent approval of Union Pacific. In other words, plans that were very carefully reviewed and approved by Union Pacific engineers were subsequently changed, and the requirement that any change be approved by the railroad apparently was not met.
And it's a big deal because you're talking about 6 inches of gravel versus a foot, which all has to do with the stability of the rail line, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The subballast is intended to help absorb the vibrations of loaded freight cars. It is to help sort of hold the track steady, to help sort of flow moisture away from the track bed and the ties. So it's a critical piece of the rail track structure.
And now engineers there have done another study to try and convince Union Pacific that even though they did not build what the railroad company wanted, what they did build was just as good.
That's a pretty high risk play. The engineers are confident that Union Pacific will sign off on that. But there is a slight risk that if the Union Pacific Railroad doesn't approve this change, that they'd have to take up this 3 miles of $1 million in rail and rebuild it.
Not great. And just a reminder, any more money that's spent on the project will be coming from your taxes. By the way, millions of your taxpayer dollars are also sitting out in the open in the form of an unbuilt warehouse, and there are questions swirling now about the future of the entire project.
This project has come to a complete halt. The cost overruns have far exceeded what anyone had projected. There is a question now about what is the true need for this shipping depot in Nyssa for serving the Treasure Valley and its Indian industry. So there is a full stop. There is no contractor. All construction has stopped. The $2 million warehouse building is sitting on the ground in pieces where it has been for a year and a half. The final rail construction is stopped. There is no company under contract to run the depot, and there's not a single pound of onions under contract to ship out. So a new executive director has come in to sort of pull back, reassess, and decide whether this project goes forward as designed, whether it gets scaled back, scaled up, or becomes something entirely different. And in the meantime, the Oregon Department of Transportation, which manages the millions of dollars of funding that flows into this, has suspended the funding. It has said to the project developers, you will not get any more money from us, from the state, until you establish that you have a viable financial operation out there.
None of that sounds good. Around $30 million have already been spent, and if the project goes forward, as it is designed now, it will need another 10 to 11 million at least. And by the way, right now, there are no criminal investigations into any potential wrongdoing with those tax dollars, but we will keep an eye on it. And if you'd like to learn a lot more about the Treasure Valley Reload Center drama, head on over to the MalheurEnterprise.com and find this latest article. It is behind a paywall, but you can get a few free articles when you sign up. And listen, I'm a paying subscriber. I encourage you to subscribe as well if you care about issues affecting our fellow Oregonians in Eastern Oregon and the rest of the state. Les and the staff there do a terrific job. Get yourself a subscription.